Hey guys, it's Ellen here. This video is going to be a little different today. I've been hearing a lot and people have been writing to me and talking to me about having confidence and getting frustrated and reaching for perfection when it comes to their paintings and getting really frustrated about it. I just have to tell you that there's no such thing. I've been painting and drawing since I was probably 5, maybe even before that. And I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I am still striving to do different things. I'm not striving for perfection, and I'm not trying to make it that way. I think you need to look at it in different terms. I think you need to look at it in just like growth. It's like anything in life, you have to kind of do the work. If you want to be an amazing athlete, it takes years and years and years and years of practice to become an Olympian. You don't just become an Olympian overnight. Nobody does. Shaun White wasn't the best snowboarder ever, just like, within a year. It took him years. I think people are rushing. They feel like they have to have it tomorrow or today, and this is something that's supposed to be a progress. It's not supposed to be an overnight situation. Do you want to see the first watercolor I think I've ever done? I can find. This is a watercolor from 1983 I found in my old high school sketchbook. Hilarious, right? And it's so different now. And I actually didn't pick up watercolors again until probably maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I can't really remember. I have to look through my Instagram. Actually, it's because of Instagram that I started picking up watercolor again and actually painting fine art. I was doing a lot of gouache and doing a lot of digital art because that was what the industry was calling for and looking for. And then just by, mother invention of like needing to make some extra money, I was selling some paintings on the side. And I started painting again, and look what I did. I created these things behind me. Now I would say this was kind of early on, this birch tree painting of me picking up my fine art again, and this one a little bit later. So you can see the depth compared to the two paintings. This is a little bit looser, less serious, and these flowers are a little more defined and studied and whatnot. And that's acrylic painting. And same goes true for the watercolor. These things just take time and practice. I mean, some people are better at painting realistic. Some people are better at painting loose. You're going to find your way as you keep progressing as you do it, which is why I did the tutorial on showing my sketchbooks that I did. The sketchbooks are really good at helping you progress. I tell everybody, if you paint every day, you just get better. If you're practicing basketball every day, you're going to be a better basketball player. Even if you were the suckiest player to ever play basketball, you're definitely going to do much better in a year from now. So I want people to stop getting caught up on perfection and, I don't like the way that flower looks and this looks. Sometimes those imperfections, like I showed you in my sketchbook, are 10 times better than the perfection. Some people want really loose and fun and fancy free watercolor paintings, and some people want that tight, really intense watercolor paintings. I fit right into the loose one, as you know, and that's why most of my tutorials are like that, although I do show some tutorials that have a little more realistic quality to them, but I make it easy for people. I don't want to make it so time consuming with the layering, and all the foundations of like how the shadows, it can get really intense, and those are really advanced, and I'm trying to keep it less advanced. A little more advanced ones I'm putting on Patreon, so if you go on Patreon you'll see that, but I'm kind of doing a build up to them. You can go back to my other tutorials and build up from there. I want to make it as simple as possible because I don't want people feeling frustrated. And also they get frustrated because of, it's not the way that they paint, it's the tools that they use. So when I mention things like Arches watercolor paper, that's 100% cotton, although it might be expensive, there's a reason why you need to use it. It's because it works the best for wet on wet media. You're not going to get the same thing with Strathmore or Canson. It's just not going to happen. It's just not that kind of quality. That paper is a totally different type of paper, and it's made a different way. The cotton papers are better for that. They're stronger for that. They won't rip on you. They won't they won't have those little pill like paper pieces of paper that kind of come up, that little pilling when you're working too much of the paper. So these are the reasons why you would suggest to people, even though it's beginner watercolor, to work on these papers. I always suggest to start off practicing on the cheaper paper, but then also use the real good paper and practice on that. Like just take one sheet and practice, you know, using the wet on that, and then you can go into the other sheets for the real, you know, perfectionistic, if you want to call it that, tutorial. But I don't want you guys getting hung up on perfectionism. It's not feasible. Nobody's perfect and nothing is perfect. Get out of your head. Forget about it. You're supposed to be enjoying it. If it starts to frustrate you, you're not enjoying it. You see what I'm saying? And that's the whole point. Art should be joyful. It shouldn't be frustrating. If you're feeling frustrated with what you're doing, then you need to step away, change the subject, or pick another day to do it. You know, that's how it works. I suggest that to everybody, because I even have my days where it's just not working out. The apple isn't going to be painted this way today. I'm not doing well. And I have that many times with the acrylic paintings, like back here. The acrylic, you know, it's a different medium, so I get frustrated. And it takes me days. I'll start off painting a painting and put it away for a few days and then come back to it. So that's my suggestion if you're having difficulty with painting in watercolor. Although it's a different medium, you can still start the painting, you know, and then step away from it and come back to it when you feel like, okay, I can conquer it now. I know it's, you know, when you're starting out, you're feeling frustrated with the strokes and the paper and the consistency of color and all of that. But I want to tell you, just relax. You need to relax. Everyone needs to relax, especially during COVID times. It's really difficult. But stop getting in your head and just paint. Just paint and relax. Now I've got a few tutorials on simple strokes. I have a great tutorial on shadows on my Patreon. I'm going to do a shadow tutorial here on YouTube, just to show you, like, you know, I have a few of them that come into play with some of my tutorials already, and the still lifes and whatnot. You know, basically when you're doing shadows, where the light is coming in on this side, the shadow is on this side, vice versa. And then depending on the perspective where you're seeing the object, are you seeing it straight forward? Are you seeing it from the top, the side, down? That's a whole nother thing. Now I know people have asked me about perspective. That is a little more difficult to explain. I know I had a difficult time in college with perspective, so me to teach you that might not be the best thing for that. I could give you an idea about it, but I might lead you to another tutorial from somebody else that's better on that. Because it starts from the horizon, and then from where the horizon is, you're going this way and that way. My whole point right now in this video is to try and get you out of your head and stop comparing yourself to others, even in art. All of us kind of do it, but we have to step back and say, wait a minute, that's not my journey. That's not who I am. I love this artist. I'm never going to paint like her or him. It's just never going to happen because I am not them. And you know what's funny? They think the same way about you. So I know I have artists that I know that I love that paint a certain way, and they're like, oh, I can't paint that way. It's this thing that we have, you know. Sometimes you think the grass is greener, but it's never greener. It's just different, you know. I just don't want you starting out to get frustrated. You just take your time. So we're going to go through some beginner series coming up where go back over the basics so that people are not really getting stuck on like, how do I do this? What do I do? What supplies should I have? You know, I have a tutorial on like my palette and my supplies and my paintbrushes. I probably should update that since I've switched from the paints to Holbein. And I know some people might think that's more intense paint. It's not. It's actually, when I figured out the calculations on the paint, it ended up being cheaper than the little teeny tubes, the Windsor that I had, the cheap Windsor Newtons that I had. The Holbein is actually more cost effective. You get a bigger tube and you're still using the same amount of paint, but it's lasting longer, and then you got this intense, vibrant colors. And I want to steer people towards those because they will give you the best, you know, outcome on your paintings if you want intense, vibrant colors on your paintings, florals and whatnot. I have yet to find anything else that's better than that. Sorry. and it's just how I like it. But anyway, this tutorial talk, I call it my little tutorial, pep talk, is just about stop being frustrated. Get out of your head. And if I can give you a little story antidote that makes you feel any better, I'm a professional artist. I've been designing things for clients for many years. And I was working freelancing in a studio, and I was looking into branching into licensing, which is what I've been doing now for 20 some odd years. And I had gone to the stationery show in Javits Center in Manhattan, and I had a bunch of photocopies in an envelope of things that I had designed. And they were, back then, they used to have like art director meetings at these major booths of major stationery companies. And I signed my name up for one of the time slots. Walked away, and I kind of like was observing what the people were saying. We were sitting down at the chair with the art director, and they had their portfolios, like the professional, leather-bound portfolios, which I've had, but I didn't bring those. And they're, going through it, and I'm telling my husband, I'm not going to sit down and talk to the art director. I feel stupid. I only have photocopies, and they have their professional portfolios. I'm an idiot to sit down and like go over this with her. I'll feel like an amateur. He's like, just, you know what? We had just taken this course about not being stopped. So he's like, just do it and whatever. At least you get the experience out of it, like an interview kind of thing. So I sat down with her at my time slot, and she goes, oh, finally, somebody who doesn't bring in all these stupid big portfolios. This is just what I was looking for, just photocopies of something what you had. So you see, in the long run, what I thought was dumb was not dumb at all. Isn't that great? And I got a card deal with them, my first card, and I actually did a tutorial on a watercolor polar bear. You can go through my YouTube tutorials and find it. And I just kind of duplicated it in watercolor, but I did the original card in gouache. So that's my story about not being stopped and not getting out of your head. Get out of your head. Stop the noise. Just paint. Find the joy in paint. Progress. Practice every day. You don't have to do an hour every day. You can do 20 minutes, 5 minutes. You could be watching a TV program and just painting a flower. That's what you need to do. And as you keep doing it, you'll get better and better and better and better and better. Just the way it is. If you stop for years, obviously, you're going to have to, it's like rusty. It's like riding a bike again. You haven't done it for a long time. So I hope this was helpful to you guys. I hope so. But I just don't want people to get frustrated. I know it's difficult. I know it's a new medium for some people. And for others, maybe they're picking up again and they're still feeling frustrated. But just don't. Just keep working on it. Do something new every day. Like I said, put the painting down if it's frustrating you and go back to it. Don't let it discourage you from creating and learning. That is the point. The point is you're just going to keep at it. You're going to find out in a year from now, when you look at your old paintings, wow, how I progressed. It's amazing. So take care, guys. Keep up the good work and stop getting in your head. I'll speak to you soon. Oh, and don't forget to check out my Patreon for new tutorials. They're exclusively each week. Like I said, I have a little more advanced ones in there and some a little easier ones. And I give you a PDF download of the sketch that goes with the tutorial. So take care, and I'll speak to you soon.